I will try to understand what is test case and what are the things we need to consider under test case means while writing the test case, and we'll try to understand the test case template and how to write the test case. Okay, so first we'll try to understand what is test case. Okay, what is test case? Okay, test case is nothing but it's a step-by-step instruction to the tester to test the particular functionality or to validate the particular functionality of the application. Okay, what it means is, for example, I want to test login functionality. Login functionality. Okay, login functionality. Then what means how I can test this one? If I am a tester and I am working in a project and I know everything, means what to do and what procedure I need to follow. If I know, that is good for me. But if somebody comes into the project and that person is very new to this project or this application, and he don't know about the application, okay, what are the functionalities are there and what is the procedure to follow while interacting with the application, right? So if you write the step-by-step procedure, okay, then it is very easy for the newcomer. Means if anybody comes into the project and they want to execute or verify the functionality, then by going through the steps only, they can what you call test the functionality without any uh, trouble or without any difficulty. Okay, for example, we are taking one example like login function. Okay, means I want to write the test case. How I can write? I need to have a step-by-step procedure. First, open the URL. Okay, just mention the URL www.gmail.com. Okay, second, enter valid email in the username text box. Okay, third, enter valid password in the password text box. Fourth step, click on login button. So these are the steps. Okay, if somebody comes into the project and if he wants to check this functionality, then by going through these steps only, he will understand what should be done. Okay, so first step is just open the URL www.gmail.com. Just to take this URL and paste it on some browser and open this application. Next, enter valid email in the username text box. When you open this application, login what you call page will be there, and you are able to see the username text box. So that enter the valid email in the username text box. Okay, next, enter valid password in the password text box. Okay, there will be one more text box called password. Just enter the valid password in the text box. Fourth, click on the login button. So you click on the login button after entering the valid username and password. Okay, so then here will be expected result. Okay, so what is the expected result? User should be logged in successfully. Correct? Successfully. Okay, so this is one of the example for the test case. Okay, so we'll look into the different, or we'll look into some examples of the test cases afterwards. Okay, just this is an example. Okay, so test case is the step-by-step instructions or procedure to the tester to perform the validation of specific functionality of the application. Okay, that is nothing but a test case. So here we may get one more question called, why should we write the test case? Okay, without writing the test case also we can test the application, right? What is the need of writing the test case? Okay, so for this question, here are the some answers. Okay, few answers. Okay, so first, consistency in testing. If you want to maintain the consistency in the testing, then you should write the test case. So what do you mean by consistency in testing? We'll go with one example. For example, there is a release one. Okay, in the release one, actually you are having around 400 test cases. Okay, you executed all those and all are passed. Okay, after sometimes they are providing release 2. Okay, then if you don't have these 400 test cases documented somewhere, okay, then in the release 2, okay, you may miss some test cases. This time you may execute only 360 test cases. Okay, other 40 test cases you may miss. Okay, and coming to release 3, again they are giving release 3, and that time, okay, you may only execute 200 test cases. Okay, you forgot other 200 test cases, or you missed other 200 test cases. And for example, they are giving release 4 at that time. Okay, previously in R1, R2, R3, release 1, release 2, release 3, I was the tester and I was testing. So I know about the functionality and the test cases, so that even though I am missing some test cases, I am able to, at least in the release 3, I am able to execute 200 test cases, right? But in release 4, I left the company, and in the place of me, someone has hired. Okay, someone is replaced with me. So I went out of the company. So in the place of me, someone is came and you want to execute or you want to test the application in the release 4. That time you will be not having any clue, means how many test cases were there, and how many scenarios they have covered, and how many he should cover in the as a part of release 4. That time he may only come up with around 50 scenarios, and he might execute only 50 scenarios because he is a new and you don't have clear picture or clear idea about the application and all the scenarios. So he might miss maximum or what you call major amount of or major number of scenarios. Okay, around 350 scenarios. So it happens. To avoid this, what we should do, we need to write the test cases, so that if you write the test case and you keep the documentation, test case documentation ready, then in release 1, you will be executing 400 test cases. In release 2 also, you will be executing the 400 test cases, because there is a document and there are 400 test cases documented in that test case documentation, so that if you go for further release, even though you go for release 10 also, there will be 400 test cases. You can go through them and you can execute them. And if somebody new comes into the project, and if you assign that task to execution task to new tester, then just you will refer this document, test case documentation. There are 400 test cases, so you will execute 400 test cases. So there will be no miss. Okay, so that is the one of the requirement, means why we should write the test case. Okay, to maintain the consistency in the testing. Okay, to cover all the requirements. So if you are not having test cases, or if you are not writing the test cases, then depending upon the requirements, if you are testing the application, then you may miss some requirements. Okay, sometimes your mood might be very good, and you might cover all the scenarios, means you will come up with so many scenarios, positive, negative, and all the possible scenarios, and you are able to execute. But sometimes your mood will be not good, and as a human being, it is human tendency, right? Sometimes we will be in good mood and sometimes we will be in bad mood. So depending upon the mood, you may miss some requirements. If you are not feeling well, or if your mood is not good, then that time you may not come up with all the possible scenarios, and you may lose or miss the requirements coverage. Okay, and again it varies from tester to tester. If I am testing, I may cover all the possible scenarios, but if someone comes into my place and he wants to execute the or test the application, then he might not come up with all the possible scenarios, because it will vary from human to human, or one person to another person. So to have, means to ensure, means you are covering all the requirements, you should have the test case documentation. Okay, next, to cover all the scenarios for the requirements, for each and every requirement, you can come up with the different scenarios, right? Positive scenarios, negative scenarios, edge case scenarios, and all. Okay, so to cover all the scenarios, you can write the test case. If you write the test case, then it will be reviewed by your colleague and your lead and your QA manager sometime, right? So that they may suggest something to add and modify, update, and all. Okay, so that once it is modified, updated after reviewing, it will be perfect. Okay, your test case will be perfect and it will cover all the possible scenarios in the requirement. So that to make sure to cover all the scenarios in the requirement, for each and every requirement, we should write the test case. Okay, that is the intention of writing the test case. Okay, next, standard reference for the newly hired tester. As already we have discussed, if someone comes into the project, he is very new to the application and he don't have clarity or a clear picture of the client requirements as well as the application behavior. So while testing, if you go through the test cases already documented somewhere, and by going through the steps written in the test case, you will be able to understand the application functionality very easily, and it will be acting as a standard reference for him. Okay, so that is one of the advantage of the writing the test case. Next, proof of coverage or document. Okay, for example, there is a project and it run for 1.5 year, and developer developed so many features and we have tested so many features. Okay, at the end, okay, if we want to deliver the product to the application to the customer, that time, if you have test case documentation and there is a proof of test case passed and failed everything, then you can say, means you can provide this document, test case document, as a proof. Means like, I have covered all the possible scenarios, means these are the test cases I have written and these many are passed, and in the early stages these many were failed and I retested and again I passed, means I was able to see the functionality working fine, so I passed these what you call test cases. So that you will be having a standard document to show the customer as a proof of coverage for all the requirements. So these are the main things we need to consider. Means why, means if you have a question like why we should write the test case, then these are the some points to remember, or these are the some points those give the answer for your question. Okay, next, points to be considered while writing the test case. Okay, you are writing the test case and you are documenting it somewhere, that is fine, but while writing the test case you need to consider some points. Okay, means your test case should follow these conditions. Okay, first one is precise. Your test case should be precise, means it should be accurate. Okay, there should not be any ambiguity or there should not be any assumptions. Okay, it should be accurate. While writing your test case, it should be crystal clear. And one more is, your test case should be clear and simple. What this means while you are writing the test case, you should be using the simple words. Okay, no need to go for the difficult words to show our what you call vocabulary. Okay, means we have much complex vocabulary and we are excellent in the English. Okay, no need to show that type of things in the while writing the test cases. Whenever you write the test case, you should keep in mind, like if someone comes and refers my test case, whether this test case is understandable by the newcomer or not. Okay, you should have that perception while writing the test case, so that you should write the test case in a very simple manner and it should be clear. Okay, whenever someone comes into your test case and he goes through the test case, and he should be able to understand the test case without any questions. Okay, that is the expectation. So you need to consider, means you need to consider this point also while writing the test case. Okay. Next, ability to catch the defects. Your test case should have the ability to catch the possible defects and bugs. Okay. So our intention of writing the test case and verifying the functionality is to find the defects present in the application, right? So you should write the test case that should have the ability to catch the defects. Okay. Next, cover all the possible scenarios. While writing the test cases, please don't skip any scenarios. Okay. Sometimes you may think like already I have written around 400 test cases, and afterwards you come up with two more scenarios, and you should write the two test cases for these two more scenarios. Okay, if possible, means no need to skip these two, because um, who knows, okay, because of these two test cases you may have found a number of bugs. Okay, so whenever you are writing your test cases, okay, you should cover all the possible scenarios. Okay, even though number of test cases are more, okay, no need to skip any scenario. Okay. Next, while writing the test cases, first you try to cover the positive scenarios. Okay, then you consider the negative scenarios, because if first of all you need to check whether functionality is working as expected or not, then you can go for the negative scenarios. Okay, so these are the some things or some points to be considered when you are writing the test case. Okay. Next, we'll try to understand how to write the test case, or we will refer one template, okay, for the test case. Okay, actually there are a number of templates, and depending upon the company and the project, they may use different types of tools to write the test case, but here I am just taking one example of test case template. Okay, this is standard one. Okay, so here test case template looks like this. First it will be having the project name. Okay, okay, it will be having the project name. Here just I'm taking one example, Google email. Okay, next, if you have a model, okay, just in the Gmail there are a number of models, right? Login will be there, compose will be there, then inbox will be there, then outbox will be there, spam. Okay, there are so many things in the so many models in the Gmail. Okay, so I am taking one example like login model. Okay, reference document. If you have any reference document, document means if you have any requirement document or something, or some what you call uh, design documents. Okay, if you want them to be linked here, then you can just link them here. Okay, so that if someone comes and they want though they want to refer those documents, just by clicking on the link they will be navigated to that document, so that they can be able to access that document for more information. Okay, created by means, for example, who created this document. Okay, it is created by Krishna, or it is created by Sharan. Okay, so who has created this test case document? Okay, just mention the name. Okay, just here I took Rajkumar. Okay, next, date of creation. So when you have created this test case documentation, okay, mention the document created date, then date of review. So after writing the test case, okay, as already I told, it will be reviewed by your colleague, or it will be reviewed by your team lead. Sometimes it may be reviewed by your QA manager, so that when it got reviewed. Okay, and who reviewed. Okay, you need to mention that one also. Okay, who reviewed this test case. Next, so the template says it is having project name, model name, reference document, created by, date of creation, and date of review, and reviewer name. Okay, next, here it is having test case ID, test scenario, test case. Okay, for precondition, test steps, test data, expected result, post condition, actual result, and status. Okay, so first test, here we are considering, means we are just taking a test case ID as a test case login 001 means this is the test case which is testing the login functionality, and number is 001. Okay, test scenario, verify the login of Gmail. Test scenario is a one level description. Okay, high level description of the functionality. Verify the login of Gmail. Okay, next test case, enter valid username and password and check the login functionality. Okay, that is the test case. Here verifying the login of the Gmail will be having both negative and positive scenarios. Just here we are writing the positive test case for the login functionality, that is enter valid username and valid password. Okay, then precondition, what is the precondition? Need a valid Gmail account to do login. So if you want to log in with the valid username and password in the Gmail application, then first and foremost condition is that you should have valid username and password. So for that you should already have a registered account with Gmail. Okay, that's what precondition. Okay, next, here are the steps. As already I told, test case always is having step-by-step procedure, okay, to execute or verify the specific functionality. Okay, here we are verifying the functionality, that is login functionality with the valid username and password. Precondition is already account has been registered with the Gmail application and user is having valid username and password. Okay, so steps are enter username. Okay, here test data is valid username. Okay, for example sharan@gmail.com. Okay, so that is the data. So next, enter valid password. Okay, here is a valid password at 123. Okay, next click on login button. Then after entering valid username and data, okay, whatever mentioned as a part of test data column, okay, just click on login button. Okay, then what is the expectation? Successful login. When I enter valid username, valid password and click on login button, then I should be able to log in successfully. Okay, so that is the expectation. Okay, post condition, Gmail inbox is shown, so that user is navigated to the Gmail inbox. Okay, this is the one of the simple test case. Okay, so here we are having test case ID, we are having test scenario. Okay, then we are having test case description, then what is the precondition, then the steps to execute or verify the login functionality for the valid username and password, and what is the test data required, here we have mentioned, and what is the expected result, and after the execution of these steps, so what should be the post condition? Post condition in Gmail inbox is shown. Okay, next, while executing, our expected result is successful login, right? So that if you are able to login successfully after executing this test case, then you can say actual result user is able to login successfully. Otherwise, if you are unable to login, then you can write as a, for example, if you are navigating to the blank page, or if you are getting error, then actual result after entering valid username and password and clicking on login button, user is not able to login and application is throwing error message. Okay, so status is fail. Status is fail. Okay, so this is the example for one of the test case. And again, there are few more test cases for negative scenarios. For example, verify the login of the Gmail. Scenario is same and test case is different. Enter valid username and invalid password. Okay, need a valid Gmail account to do login. Okay, enter username means you should enter the valid username. Okay, next enter password. You enter invalid password, then click on login button. Okay, so what is the expected result? A message, the email and password you enter don't match is shown. Okay, when you enter valid email and invalid password and click on login button, then expected result is it should throw the error message like there is no match between username and password. Okay, so post condition, user will be there in the login page only with the error message. Okay. Actual result, he is able to see the error message. Then condition is passed or test case is passed. Okay. So these are the some examples for test cases. Okay. How we can write the test case and what are the things should be considered as a part of a test case. Okay. I think you people are able to understand what is test case and what are the means why we should write the test case, and while writing the test case what should be means what are the things we need to consider. Okay, so these are the things should be considered while writing the test case, and this is the standard template for the test case design to write the test case. Okay, I hope you people are understood clearly what is test case and how to write the test case and points to be considered while writing the test case. Okay. Thank you so much.